Welcome into Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Happy to have you with us. On today's show, we're talking playoffs. Playoffs? Yes, we are talking playoffs. The biggest concerns about your Seattle Seahawks of what they need to address before potentially making a big playoff run. We will go all over those and more coming up in just a few moments from right now. Here's what I need you to do. If you want to beat the 49ers and advance in this playoff, here's what I need you to do. Subscribe to the channel. Sub for Dubs. Folks, we had an incredible time last week, and now we are getting close to 34,000 subscribers on the channel, but we need your help to get there, and we got another watch party coming up this week. Seahawks and 49ers. It is going to be an outstanding time. We're going to go live about 30, 45 minutes before kickoff, and we're going to be with you and have a great time, have a few drinks on hand, do a live post-game show as well. Make sure you join us. Subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you a thing. It's free. Sub for Dubs, and we'll see you coming up on Saturday. Wild card weekend. The Seahawks taking on the Niners. The Niners got the best of Seattle in the first two meetings, but now you hit the reset button. Everybody has a 0-0 record at this point in time. And on today's show, I know that the Seahawks are heavy underdogs this week and trying to make a playoff run of some sorts. But we want to just set the playing field of expectation of what they need to do that could potentially overcome some obstacles of sorts of them getting that deep playoff run, of getting a win against San Francisco and hopefully continuing beyond that. So the first of those is stopping the run. This has been an issue all season long for the Seattle Seahawks. You go back to the Raider game of all the yards they gave up to Josh Jacobs. My mind still immediately turns to that right away. And some of the other opponents all season long. I mean, even recently, they struggled stopping Cam Akers for the Rams just a few days ago. This has been an ongoing issue all season long, is stopping the run. And this week, you take on Christian McCaffrey, one of the best running backs in the entire National Football League. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do to stop the run? The rush rankings for the Seahawks. They are 29th in the league in rush play percentage, meaning teams like to run the ball against them. And the numbers say why. The yards per rush, averaging about 5 yards per carry is what they're giving up. And teams are running it about 31 times per game. They're giving up just over 150 yards on the ground per game and giving up at least a touchdown as well. All of those are in the bottom of the league. Not quite the worst, but one of the worst in every single rush defense category listed there. And so for me, that's my biggest concern. I have more concerns to get to, but to me, that's the number one thing that stands in the way of the Seahawks making a long playoff run is their ability to stop the run. What's your biggest concern for the Seahawks this postseason? Let me know in the comment section. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. And be honest. Let me know in the comment section what your biggest concern is. Number two, my biggest concern is filling the void left by Jordyn Brooks in the injury that he suffered. We know that Jordyn Brooks is done for the year. And this past week, credit where credit's due, that in that game against the Rams, Cody Barton and Tanner Muse and Uchenna Nwosu and Bruce, all these guys, it was a collective effort. I know people are going to point to Cody Barton in particular, and yes, he's the one that his role increases the most of anybody, but with the production that Jordyn Brooks brought to the table of being, second in the NFL in tackles, this is a lot to take on. Cody Barton, he's a pretty good tackler himself, according to PFF, with that 81.7 grade. But his defensive grade and run defense grade, pass rush grade, none of those are that great of statistics. So Cody Barton and everyone else collectively, you got by last week, but can you keep that going? Can you keep on doing what you did at those linebacker spots with Brooks gone? I'm not so sure about that. I'm concerned about that. Number three on playoff concerns for me is the offensive line. And I mean, I'll be frank with you guys. The offensive line, it has been a roller coaster throughout the year this year of what this group has done. And Charles Cross, he's been great for at times this year of what he's been able to put together. But you think about it, there have been some growing pains with him being a rookie tackle. Abe Lucas dealt with some injuries as of late. And you look at the other guys around here, it's just been so inconsistent with that offensive line. Geno Smith has taken a lot of hits. He's taken a lot of sacks. The run game, when it's been on, it's been on. But when it's been off, it's been bad. And it's just because we cannot sit here and consistently trust on this offensive line. When it comes to this week, I don't know, or for the rest of the postseason for that matter, what offensive line is going to show up. To me, that is a concern. What we saw the last 2 weeks of the regular season, that was really good. But I don't have to go that far to find when this offensive line struggled, including against San Francisco. So, what offensive line is going to get the job done? That remains to be seen. What's your level of concern for the offensive line for Seattle? Scale it for me, 1 through 10, in the comments section of your level of concern where things stand right now for the Seahawks on that side of the ball at the line of scrimmage. Today's show is presented by BetUS, the exclusive sportsbook partner of Chat Sports. If you go to chatsports.com/bet, enter the promo code Seahawks125, you'll get a 125% deposit bonus. Put $100 down, you get $125 to spend for free. And you can bet on this weekend's game. The Seahawks are heavy underdogs. You can bet on the other NFL playoff games, college basketball, the NBA, and everything in between. It's all in one place. Get your bets in now. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code Seahawks125. Number 4 on my playoff concerns is Tyler Lockett's availability. Now, we did see Tyler Lockett come back, and he looked solid. He made some pretty big-time catches in some crucial moments last week for Seattle. But the availability factor in this, for me, is being the optimistic type of, if we're talking overall big-picture playoff concerns of making a deep run, is Tyler Lockett going to be around? Because you think about this. The Seahawks have dealt with not one, but 2 injuries from Tyler Lockett in the last month. Now, to his credit, he's done a really good job of still being available and still being an impact for this Seahawks offense, even with dealing with those injuries. So this is not a knock on Tyler Lockett at all. Don't take that this way, folks. What I wonder, though, is it feels like what history tells us is that when the injuries start to happen, then they continue to pile up and more stuff happens. Or are you going to re-aggravate things, whether it was the leg injury or the hand or whatever it may be? To me, that is a concern if we're thinking big picture of a playoff run. If we're just taking this 1 week at a time, everything I saw last week from Tyler Lockett says that he looks fine, that he's playing through this and he should be okay. But I do worry in the back of my mind, can this stuff be re-aggravated or could something else pop up too? I wonder about that when it comes to Tyler Lockett. Hopefully he is okay and nothing else happens. My final concern for the Seahawks, number 5, is the number 3 wideout option. Now, I'll say this. I say number 3 wideout, but it's really just number 3 receiver, whether it's your starting tight end or whether it's an emerging receiver that steps up to that number 3 spot. Beyond DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, we haven't seen consistency of that number 3 receiver, and we've seen flashes from Noah Fant, from Marquise Goodwin. We obviously know Will Dissly is not going to be around, and he was the 5th leading receiver for the Seahawks. Who is going to be that number 3 guy? When it comes playoff time, when you want to win these games, you got to have these X factors. You got to have these breakout type stars step up and perform, the guys that you don't expect. And we sit here and we say, look, we know what you're going to get from DK. You know what you're going to get from Tyler Lockett. But if Tyler Lockett's dealing with an injury or whatever it may be, who's going to be the next man up? I like what I've seen from some of these guys this year, but the peaks and the valleys, the way things have been inconsistent, I want to see if somebody is willing to answer that call and have their moment here in the postseason. And I don't know necessarily what that would be, who is going to be that guy, somebody who will be that guy, but somebody needs to step up and be said guy. So, spam it in the comments section. Name a breakout performer for the Seahawks this postseason. Who is going to be that X-factor player that we talked about that could get the job done and overcome that concern for the Seahawks? Let me know in the comments section. You can interact with me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live, talking about your Seattle Seahawks there. Hopefully, we're talking about a Seahawks win. Stay tuned to the channel all week long.